How ready is India to take on Chinese aggression? Army buildup. India-China border tensions. The two countries have established mechanisms for resolving border conflicts since 1962 when they went to war in Himalayas, with India losing badly. Will China-India de-escalate the rising tensions? China has a superior military, which analysts believe could force India to back down. No shots have been fired, as the de facto border code dictates, but the soldiers have fought fiercely with rocks, wooden clubs, and their hands in a handful of clashes. On one side, at the glacial lake Pangong, several Indian troops were hurt badly enough that they had to be evacuated by helicopters, and Indian analysts said Chinese troops were injured as well. For India, the Chinese incursions and maneuvers at multiple points along the more than 2,100-mile border have raised suspicions of the concerted campaign to exert pressure on the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With the world consumed by the coronavirus pandemic, China has acted forcefully to defend its territorial claims, including in the Himalayas. In recent weeks, the Chinese have sunk a Vietnamese fishing boat in the South China Sea, swarmed a Malaysian offshore oil rig, menaced Taiwan, and severely tightened the grip on the region of Hong Kong. Even before the scuffling, India was feeling increasingly hemmed in by the China's expanding economic and geopolitical influence in South Asia. To the west, the Chinese are working with Pakistan, India's arch-enemy, and recently agreed to help construct an enormous dam on the border of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, an area India claims. Analysts said that the China did not intend to start a war, but that it wanted to frustrate India's road-building efforts. The race to make these high mountain roads is becoming increasingly fraught. The 2017 standoff between India and China began when Indian troops physically blocked the Chinese road crew in a disputed region claimed by Bhutan, a close ally of India's. China is also sensitive about the Indian border because it abuts two regions within China that Beijing is especially concerned about, Tibet and Xinjiang. The spark of the recent tensions seemed to have been one particular new road that the Indians have been building to reach a military airstrip at India's northmost border outpost, which was the site of another border standoff in 2013. For latest current affair news, subscribe News 786, like and share. High in the Himalayas, an enormous fist fight erupted in early May between the soldiers of China and India. Brawls at 14,000 feet along their inhospitable and disputed frontiers are not terribly unusual, but what happened next was. A few days later, Chinese troops confronted Indian soldiers again, this time at several other remote borders points in the Himalayas, some more than 1,000 miles apart. Since then, both armies have rushed in thousands of reinforcements. Indian analysts say that China has beefed up its force with dump trucks, excavators, troop carriers, artillery, and armored vehicles, and that China is now occupying Indian territory. To the east, China's new friend Nepal just produced a map that challenges where the India border lies. India has blamed China for stirring up the trouble. Nepal was once a close ally, but after India encouraged a punishing trade blockade in 2015, Nepal drifted closer to China. To the south, deep in the tropics, the Chinese have taken over an island in Maldives, a few hundred miles off Indian coast. Indian military experts say China has brought in millions of pounds of sand, expanding the island for possible use as an airstrip or submarine base. In the Galwan Valley, not far from Pangong Tso, Chinese troops were reported to have crossed several miles beyond what India considers its side of the frontier, known as the line of actual control, according to news reports that cited Indian officials. The two countries went to war in the region in 1962. Both nations reportedly sent in reinforcements after the clashes, though information about the remote region is often spotty and tightly controlled by the military on both sides. China and India have stepped back from a tense confrontation along their shared border high in the Himalayas, pledging to resolve disputes over territory through diplomatic and military channels, India's foreign minister said on Sunday. The announcement came a day after military commanders from the two sides met near Chochal, a border village at the disputed frontier near Pangong Tso, a lake where troops from the two countries clashed last month.